Recently, I've been approached by Antstream, which is a streaming service that grants players to 1,300 games. Now, that's a lot of games. And, I wanted to explain how this works because me being a giant retro fan, and I'm assuming you are as well, I want to take a good look into this and see how it operates, the quality of the games in the library, and just overall my general experience with Antstream. So those of you who aren't aware, Antstream is an online streaming service that streams retro games to your console and PC. Recently, I think about a month ago, they just added Antstream to the PS5 and PS4, which is really cool. Consider like having a PS5 as a retro machine now, which is nice because a lot of these games you really can't get besides through some illegal memes. You can also get Antstream on the Xbox series. You can pretty much get it anywhere. Like, I think you can get it on Android, you can play it on your web browser, you can download an app on your PC if you'd like. There are plenty of ways to play with Antstream. So the one thing that kicked out to me right away was the amount of games they have. 1,300 games is a lot of games. And I was just perusing through the library, and it turns out that some of these games are not generally doubles, but they're different ports of the same game, if that makes sense. So one of these games could be for the Super Nintendo, and they'll have another version of it for the Sega Genesis, or the Commodore 64, and then you have the ZX Spectrum version. So there'll be a lot of doubles in that way, but I'm mostly here for like the arcade games. There are also a few 32-bit games here, not a lot though, so don't really come into Antstream expecting to play a lot of those. If you've always wanted to play arcade games in your consoles, I highly suggest giving Antstream a try. So Antstream goes for $30 per year, or if you want a lifetime sub, that's $80. Mind you, the lifetime sub is only as good as Antstream is around, but Antstream has been here for quite some time. I was humbly giving a year code, and so far I've actually enjoyed it. One of the biggest concerns when it comes to streaming any sort of game is the input lag. And if you're going to be playing run and guns such as Metal Slug or any type of shmup, you know that input lag is going to be your worst enemy. Fortunately here, with a Ethernet connection, I experienced little to no lag at all. I was able to run through a majority of Metal Slug X, about half of the game, without experiencing any errors, which led to a no death run up until I goofed. I haven't played any couch co-op or like remote play with Antstream. That might affect the quality of the connection, but if you're going to do this on console, I doubt that local play is going to hamper the connection to the streaming service. A lot of this stuff was smooth. There were a few times where my connection had a little bit of a hiccup and it turned the pixels into some sloshy mess, but that was corrected. And a really cool thing that Antstream does is they give you weekly tournaments, and there are over 600 challenges for games. For example, a lot of these are going to be categorized into how long can you go on one life. Some games you're going to have a certain weapon equipped, how many enemies can you kill within a certain time limit, how high of a score can you get, that kind of stuff. Challenges aren't really too, like, they're not going to be breaking new ground here, which is fine. Like, if you want to put your skills to the test, challenges are fine, and you can challenge the community as well, where you put your score up and you see how many players can beat your score combined. Not every game is going to have a challenge. The games on here are plenty fun, honestly. I found most of my fun just going through the library itself and playing games that I usually never get to play. Mostly because with my stuff, I already have the stuff that I want that I'm going to play, right? Like, I know I'm going to play Metal Slug. Like, that's just a given. I know I'm going to play Raiden Jet. Like, those are key, but this actually kind of in a way pushes me to try out the library that they have. And the way that they get their games on their library, I'm assuming, is through licensing. So they're going to license some games. There's a lot of Data East here, a few SNK games. One thing that's really missing though is like some heavy hitters. So there's like, I see like almost no Capcom games. Actually, I shouldn't even say it like that. There are no Capcom games. There are no Konami games. I didn't see a single Sega arcade game in there either. So those are like three big companies that are not there. There are other companies here that have like limited games on here, like Namco and Bandai. But there's a lot of Data East. So if you wanted to play Sunset Riders or its spiritual sequel, what is it, Mystical Warriors, I believe, that's not going to be here. You're not going to play any Metamorphic Force, let alone any X-Men in the arcade game. There's going to be no Final Fights. You're not going to get that here. You will get some other stuff though. There is a bunch of SNK shmups, which I think are plenty of fun. There's, I believe, the first Dodonpachi on here, and it's just fun to explore, honestly, but don't come in here expecting big games. I think also I heard they lost the Midway license, so there's no Rampage, Total Carnage, Smash TB, no Mortal Kombat. They used to have that. So while they are adding new games, they also kind of lose games with their licensing stuff. So if you're expecting to get some arcade heavy hitters, you'll get some, but not all of them. I though had a blast playing what they have here, like Metal Slug, Beast Busters. They also have the Art of Fighting games, which is great. A lot of beat 'em ups and shmups. I even found this one shmup where it felt like it should have been a Gundam game. It feels like they had Gundam, but then they just lost the license. It was pretty cool though. I enjoyed it. As far as my verdict goes on how I would recommend this, I highly recommend this for the price tag, whether it's yearly or lifetime, for console. I think that's really cool that you can get a lot of arcade games that aren't even offered on the console's respective like shops. So you can get a lot of stuff that has never been ported on your console now through a streaming service, which is cool. Now, if you get on PC, I think it's nice if you don't want to get into the trouble of emulating. If you don't feel comfortable with like messing around with files, which honestly it's not too complicated, but I know people feel iffy about that right now, this is a great way to stream some of these games legally. On console, I would love to have this on my PS5 and just like have a night with the buddies, play some old arcade games, have a few beers, and just have a blast, honestly. Because everything here is like, alright, let's just shoot this real quick, let's try this challenge real quick. Or hey, look at that game, I've never seen that before, click on it and let's like, give it a run through. Stuff like that is really cool for console gaming and couch co-op. You know, that's the allure of it for me. So yeah, to sum up my points is it's got a great streaming service. I had no hiccups or issues, very little to none actually, and I didn't experience any issues when I was playing any run and guns and shmups. Beat 'em ups I'm fine with, but even then I didn't experience any problems. The price tag is totally fine by me, 30 bucks for a year or 80 for a lifetime. Keep in mind that's only going to stick with you as long as Antstream's company is afloat. It's really cool to have this on consoles such as the PS4, PS5, and the Xbox Series. As far as the PC, well, that's really going to be up to you and how comfortable you feel with emulating games. There's also the downside of like Antstream has to license these games out, so that's really up to whatever company wants to license their IPs. So you're not, like I said, you're not going to get Capcom games here, you're not going to get Konami games here, and some other big hitters are missing as well, such as Midway. But you can play some other great games that you probably haven't heard of, or some of the other big hitters that are out there. Thanks again for Antstream for providing the key here. I had a blast with this. I have found some fun arcade games that I didn't even know existed, but now I know for sure I'm going to keep playing Dangun Fever probably every time I see an arcade cabinet of it now. Thanks again for sticking for the review. If you want to try it out, there's a link in the description below to the Antstream website. And yeah, if you liked it, also consider leaving a like and subbing for some more indie and retro gaming goodness. Catch you later, homies. Peace.